Jamahal Hill is the worst champion in UFC history, and I'm including Nikico Montano in that. Nikico Montano at least won tough. Jamahal Hill, I have no idea how he beat a Glover Teixeira that was, looking good by the time they fought. Instead, we've got Khalil Roundtree Jr. defeating Jamahal Hill via unanimous decision in the main event of UFC Baku in Azerbaijan. Roundtree looked good, guys. I mean, Khalil Roundtree did not look bad at this fight. This was not the action-packed fight that everybody had hoped it would be when it was originally booked and then rescheduled. But at the same time, Roundtree managed to go out there and get the job done. Now, don't get me started about Jamahal Hill confronting him after the fight, after being dropped 2 or 3 times. Like, oh, bro, what, you didn't want to bring the fight? Like, no, he's not going to go out there and brawl with you. That is stupid and idiotic. And if Jamahal Hill can't get over the fact that Khalil Roundtree was like, hey, I'm not going to engage in this guy on terms that I'm not comfortable with. This is a sport. This isn't a fist fight for real. This is a sport. Otherwise, I'd be kicking you in the nether regions, right? And I'd be gouging your eyes out. So Khalil Roundtree, how did he do it? He disrupted Jamahal Hill's footwork, which is already atrocious, as famously pointed out by Miguel Class. Low kicks, the leg kicks. Anytime Jamahal Hill decided to set up and get in range, because he does have a good 1-2 despite having the worst footwork I have ever seen in a fighter, it was the low kicks that when Jamahal Hill would step in, Roundtree, he's got fast and vicious low kicks, and as a southpaw, and Jamahal Hill, who switches stances, he managed to get damage on both of the legs. Dropped him with a couple of the low kicks even. He really did a good job of disrupting the atrocious footwork from Jamahal Hill. And, obviously we've got the typical Khalil Roundtree shenanigans, though. Boom! Hammer fist standing, which was very, very weird. And I'm like, okay, why is he doing this? He did it a couple of times, and again, pointed out famously by the great Miguel Class, it was to set up a low kick later, which, I don't know if he was actually setting it up, but he feinted a hammer fist and threw the low kick and knocked down Jamahal Hill that way. Overall, it's the typical Khalil Roundtree game plan that we saw. Massive overhands and lead hooks to really put down Jamahal Hill. And he did a good job of that. He did a good job of putting Jamahal Hill down. He wasn't quite the finisher that he wanted to be. Everybody thinks Khalil Roundtree is a knockout artist, has a power puncher, and Val Duar pointed this out on X, saying that he's not a knock, and he was kind of, I love Val, that's my boy, but kind of took it a bit too far, saying, he's not a power puncher. Why do you think he's a power puncher? No, he is not a power puncher. But Khalil Roundtree is a finisher, and when he smells blood in the water, he generally goes out there and tries to get the finish. Now, the times that he did have Jamahal Hill backing up to the fence and stuff, he was looking for the finish, but he kind of let him off the hook when he saw Jamahal Hill was like, okay, better. So Jamahal Hill might be a better recoverer, if that's a thing. He recovered a little bit better. Khalil didn't really go for the finish, and that kind of was disappointing. But yeah, he's a finisher. Like, think the Modestus Bukauskas and the body kick, almost head kick knockout that he had against, I think, who was it? Eric Anders? No, he beat the snot out of Eric Anders. Y'all remember that fight? That was like, wow. I think that got fight of the night, but not because it was a good fight, because Khalil Roundtree just kept beating up Eric Anders. Jamahal Hill's footwork, horrible. I mean, just horrible. He let Roundtree lead him around the ring. He followed Roundtree, and it was like, what? He's not good, guys. He really might be the worst champion we've ever seen, which is wild. And coming out of the Contender Series, might be the perfect example of what the Contender Series is bringing to the UFC. No clue how he beat Glover, even though Glover Teixeira was old. No clue whatsoever, because, man, he's just bad. He's just bad. He's not a good fighter at all, especially at this elite of a level. And even in, light heavyweight, he's, not that good. And light heavyweight is not a good division. He wants to act all high and mighty. Alex knocked him out, but it was this and that. But then, the Jiri Prochazka fight happened, and it was he got beaten from pillar to post. And now Khalil Roundtree, he wants to get up in his face afterwards and say, why wouldn't you engage, bro? Why aren't you a better fighter, bro? It's so bad. But yeah, so that's the 3-fight skid for Jamahal Hill now. That's Pereira, Prochazka, and Roundtree. So it's not just guys with P's in their names. It's just the fact that he's just not as good as he was, and he got a good opportunity. He never would have beat Prochazka, probably wouldn't have beat Ankalaev. man, who do we give him next? Ulberg? Like, there's options out there for him, but for like Khalil Roundtree, Ulberg is an option, but you also got Yuri Prochazka, which is like a hyper-violent fight. I think Yuri Prochazka would bring out a really fun fight out of Khalil Roundtree, unlike Jamahal Hill, who got mad that Yuri Prochazka didn't, or got mad that Khalil Roundtree didn't do what he was supposed to. And who else? I mean, there's Jan Blachowicz out there. Alex Burr, no. There's some options out there for him, though. Dominic Reyes would be another fun fight, and that could produce a really good highlight knockout for Khalil Roundtree. Now, woo! Rafael Fiziev in the co-main event defeated my boy Ignacio Bahamondes. Unanimous decision. That's the story of this fight card. Unanimous decision after decision. I said in the MMA draw, I talked about it, and I was like, Ignacio Bahamondes really does hate the fact that people like get up in his grill, think Ludovic Klein, think John McDessie. Now, the McDessie fight was a short notice fight, up a weight class. Or was that the Klein fight? One of those two, I don't remember, was up a weight class. Regardless, he doesn't like when people get in his grill, and I thought Rafael Fiziev would be the type of guy that's like, okay, I can get in his grill. Fiziev did pretty well and hit the body in this fight well. Got up in his face well. Really kind of started to negate the range of Ignacio Bahamondes. He did a good job, though, of keeping Rafael Fiziev kind of at arm's length, which, yeah, pun intended. He really did a good job of keeping him at range. The problem, Rafael Fiziev is still good at range, and he's still got good vision for long punches coming his way. Now, remember the Manuel Torres, where Bahamondes steps off that back foot and boom, fires straight up the pipe. Think like Conor McGregor. Think Sean O'Malley with Aljamain Sterling. Really good job of doing that against Manuel Torres at UFC, what was it, 300 or no chair, whichever one it was. Here, he tried that against Rafael Fiziev a couple times, and that really does rely on your opponent really overextending on their arm and leaving their jaw wide open. That happened last week. I don't remember who that was. Hold on. Let's take a field trip real quick and see who that was, because it happened last week, and I don't remember exactly how it went down. Regardless, Fiziev, he did a good job kind of making sure, that he wasn't really hurt in these situations. Usman did it to Buckley. Barcelos did it to Cody Garbrandt. I don't remember exactly who it was. That Malcolm Wellmaker fight. I'm still buzzing over that. But regardless, Rafael Fiziev, what he was managed to do was get in when it mattered and to not let Ignacio Bahamondes really be effective with his at-range striking. So he managed to get on the inside where Bahamondes doesn't like, but it wasn't as often as you'd like to see from somebody. That said, the work that Rafael Fiziev denied from Ignacio Bahamondes, magnificent. Bahamondes obviously got the spinning back kick knockout over Roosevelt Roberts. Here he threw it multiple times up top, and Rafael Fiziev really didn't. He wasn't buying. The Matrix, man. What are we gonna do? Like that's the Matrix, right? I really did like it. I really did like it when he threw it to the body, though. Fiziev is inclined to lean back, and really Bahamondes showed that I can still throw to the body a lot more, and I would have liked to see a little bit more of that here. Rafael Fiziev, though, he's really elite, man. He's really, really good at he's a good striker. He showed some good improved wrestling here, and I was surprised because Bahamondes is like he's a decent takedown throw, or he's a decent submission threat. And if we're looking at that, you're like, man, Bahamondes, he's losing on the feet. Fiziev is going down and he's grinding pounding. Oh man, don't get Bravo choked or don't get triangled or something, because he's got these long, lanky limbs that play into his advantage. And Rafael Fiziev managed to not get caught in anything funky or crazy. So, good on him, man. I really good performance. It shows he's still elite. Shows he's still a really good fighter despite the skid that he went on. I think Ignacio Bahamondes has a really good opportunity. He's only 27. He'll still make a rankings run here soon. And if you go over and look at the rankings real quick here. Actually, hold on. I don't have it pulled up. I do now. Let's take a peek over at the lightweight rankings real quick. You look at the bottom of this. You got he couldn't beat Fiziev, but like you don't think he can beat Michael Chandler or Benoit Saint-Denis. Joel Alvarez is a banger of a fight, or Moicano, Beneil Dariush. So those are options for him if he wants to fight the rankings. I mean, I look mainly to the 13, 14, 15 spot if you want to put Bahamundes in a ranking fight next, but I don't think he'll get that. As for Fiziev, Gamrot would be a fun one. Beneil Dariush, I don't know if they fought. Mateusz Gamrot, there's options there for him as well. What else happened? Oh yeah, Curtis Blaydes defeated Rizan Kunov via split decision in a fight. Curtis Blaydes probably should have lost. If we're being honest here, had a really good first round, controlled Kunov, a couple takedowns, but he took a little bit of damage, and Rizvan Kunov, he's a steroid cheat, and we're not a fan of that. I guess I'm not I'd prefer all fighters to do performance enhancing drugs, if I'm being honest. But if you're not allowing some fighters to do it and some are playing by the rules, presumably Curtis Blaydes is, you'd like to see them kind of, play on the same playing field. But regardless, Curtis Blaydes not looking as great as he was lately. The Tom Aspinall win was very, very, very telling on his part of, kind of where he's at. Blaydes, 19-5, man, he loses the important fights like Aspinall, Sergey Pavlovich. He beat the brakes off of Jelton Almeida. It looked real good there. But you go back and you look at his fight with Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. It's like, man, right when he's right there, he really kind of, he drops the ball, and that sucks for Curtis Blaydes because I do like Curtis Blaydes a lot. His stand-up game was serviceable, and he's become a decent stand-up threat. His jab was good, but Rizvan Kunov's like striking is a lot better than Curtis Blaydes, and that's where he was going to always win that fight. Did an okay job of denying the takedown. Wasn't perfect, but he gave Curtis Blaydes a hard enough time, and he hurt Curtis Blaydes a lot. Maybe Rizvan Kunov is better than I'm giving him credit for, but yeah. I'm happy Curtis Blaydes won, but I don't think he deserved the win, if I'm being honest. Matsubek Orobai and Tafik Masayev fought. Orobai just ran through him like a buzzsaw. Round 1, Kimura finish. Orobai really did a good job of putting the pressure on early. Takedowns against the cage, and once he got him into the side, away from the cage and separated the two, he really locked in a nasty Kimura, and Tafik Masayev was supposed to, tap or snap there, and he tapped instead of a snap, thankfully. That was supposed to be versus Kyoji Horiguchi, which, that would have been a fun fight, but Orobai's really good, man. Don't let that last fight where he lost, who was that? Let's go back over to the web real quick and take a gander and see, because Orobai, man, he's a banger. He had that, the eye really kind of swell up on him. That was against Mateusz Rebecki. That's right. Very close fight. But man, he is scary good. Orobai is one of those guys that you're going to be, he's really great. Nazim Sadikov defeated Nicholas Mota. The fight, Mota really kind of starting to tee off on him early. Muhammad Naimov and Bogdan Grad, unanimous decision. Sok-Hyun Ko and Oban Elliott. Everybody was real hype on Oban. This is kind of a interesting win for the underdog, Seok Hyun Ko. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Jung Young Park defeated Ismail Nuradov. I like Iron Turtle, man. I was happy to see him get the win, and I am not trying to say that last name. She moved to 10-2 versus Melissa Mullins. Claudia Segula and Ariel Alexieva. That was really kind of a one-sided beating. Ulanbekov defeated Azak Maxim, and then Muhammad Usman defeated Hamdi. So all in all, horrible night of fights, if you want to be honest. It's not a very good back-to-back weeks. You had the Usman Buckley card. You had this card. It sucks because they're going through a slump right now. On other news, John Jones retired, and John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson's first fight is what got me into the sport, and that's why y'all get to watch me blabber on this channel to this day. But his legacy's going to be remembered as one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest ever. But he kind of dropped the ball the last 10 years of his career, if you want to be honest. He fought not good contenders, captured a title, really wouldn't defend it against those who he should have. So, but happy retirement, John Jones, despite him having another arrest where he didn't have pants on and ran away from the scene of the crime. It's never going to end with this guy. It's never going to end. Anyways, guys, this weekend I went and filmed episode 7 of Fight Finders, the first part. The second part will be coming in a couple of weeks, so hopefully this will be a smooth sailing one with Tom Scott. If you guys like karate, you're going to love this. Tom Scott's a great guy, a fantastic karateka, and it's really interesting to see a different type of sport here. So yeah, guys, check it out. Fight Finders 3 on this side. It's a little more brutal, bare knuckle boxing. This is featuring Ike Villanueva, who just won at BYB or BKB this weekend. Follow him in his capturing of the heavyweight title, so go check this out.